Hello friends and welcome. Today we're going to talk about Marci, position 4, support spotlight, give you a rough guide on how to play potentially the best hero in the game right now. She is highly contested at TI right now, and I honestly thought I already had a guide for her. My bad, I didn't realize I hadn't, so here we are today. We're going to split this up into two videos. I will talk through the guide and I'll try to put in some clips, examples here, and then we're going to do a follow-up video where I talk through one of my own games, explaining some of the thought process. So let's get into it. Skill build wise, you're going to start with Dispose or Rebound. Oh, and actually before we get into it, you can technically play Marci as a position 5 as well. I think it's a little greedy. The old build, so I'm stepping back on my own video. Old Marci, where she had the stun on Dispose, that was more viable as a support. You could get Arcane, Aether, Blink, something like that, and you were a very good instant initiation. They changed that. It was a little too powerful, so they mix things up. She's more aggressive now, a support who can get solo kills. So that has pushed her more to a different aggressive, greedy build. That's why she's a better position 4 right now than a position 5. So with that out of the way, that explains the new build, why this is something different than if you played Marci before. So level 1, you start Rebound or Dispose. Which one? It's a little bit up to you on the situation. I recommend Rebound if you're not sure, but you can get some really good trades level 1 with Dispose. For example, walk to your mid lane, camp near your tower, and if you see someone walk up trying to, you know, the tricks to check the different warding spots, you can kind of wait there and pick them up and throw them into your tower. And that can be a straight up first blood, or if not, you just chunk out a huge amount of health from people, and they have to either go home, miss the start of the laning stage, or they chug through a ton of regen. You get a ton of value if people mess it up. So I would just sit in the mid lane, for example, don't skill anything. If someone walks up, you can pick up Dispose, throw them back. If they don't walk up, then you don't have to take this ability. If you see someone on your team, maybe they're dying, right? At a rune fight, maybe you can also Dispose, save them. So I suggest you keep your level 1 skill point because both of these can be very good. But if not, Rebound is a pretty safe ability. It can be your way to play aggressive and then jump back out for safety. It can be your way to initiate aggressively. Both are good in just different circumstances. Dispose is really good to like reposition people if that's powerful to you, and Rebound is really good to stun people or to be your mobility escape or engage. So it kind of depends on the situation which is better. Really, you kind of need both before you do anything too crazy. I really wouldn't expect you to get kills with just level 1. I mean, it'll happen, but not too often. It's when you have both that it gets a little stronger because you can initiate from afar with Rebound and then Dispose them back. So whichever one you pick level 1, it's fine. You're going to take the other one level 2. And play near the lane until you get level 2 because this is a huge power spike for Marci. So don't try to like do much in the jungle, like body blocking camps forever and like hunting for couriers, all that. Stay near the lane, just punch creeps, punch the enemy if they get too close, get your level 2. That is a huge power spike for you. Now from here, you got a choice. If your off lane partner, or maybe your carry if you're playing your position 5, is really powerful, if you think there's a lot of good fighting going on right now, you might get more points in Rebound and Dispose. And in particular, Rebound. Rebound is the better skill. I would probably leave Dispose at level 1. Rebound is now your stun, so you increase your stun duration, you get it at a lower cooldown, a little bit more damage. This is overall just better for you. It's your mobility, your engage, your escape, your farming tool. If it's a little hard to farm with this sometimes, especially in the jungle, but in the laning stage, for example, or just in the lane in general, this is your farming tool. So if you had to level 1 of these, Rebound is the better way to go. And maybe up to like level 3, you do something like this. Like I said, you could go further if you think it's great, but usually I think probably 2 points is enough. Maybe the 3rd, 4th max at first, but like start doing a sidekick after that. But if not, you're gonna do this. You're gonna max sidekick. If your partner has a good right click, there are a lot of harass, maybe you're a ranged versus melee matchup, or maybe it's just melee versus melee. I don't know. There's a lot of cases where like right clicking could be good. Different heroes are good at this, right? This is useful in the laning stage, but that's not really why you're maxing it. The real reason is Unleash at level 6 allows you to attack super fast, right? So every time you attack, you get this bonus damage for yourself and whoever happens to be near you. This is what gives you solo kill potential. This extra 65 damage out of the blue, it's not really out of the blue, it's one of your abilities, right? But extra 65 damage for your rapid auto attacks, that is so much damage coming out, not just in the early game, but even to the mid to late game. That is why people are now maxing Sidekick. This is what gives you solo kill potential or just good early game team fighting potential, and you're enabling whoever you're using it on, right? Because it's not just you, it's 2 people. It's a extra 130 damage on your team, 50% lifesteal on both of you. So it's a very powerful ability, and that's why people have started to max it first. And then you just have to jump in with Rebound, pop Unleash and Sidekick, and just start beating the shit out of them, and you will even kill core heroes. It's crazy. That's not to say you should always run on your own looking for this stuff, because don't forget, Rebound is a little hard to use. You have to jump off an allied hero or unit, so kind of running on your own is still difficult, but bring someone with you, and then you jump in, you provide all the damage, and you just need them to like slow or stun or something. So this is the new build. This is why she's so powerful. And not only is it good for herself, but if you want to play high tempo, which is happening a lot, you then enable your teammates with the Sidekick. And then you're going to max your stun after that, because this is what's going to let you keep jumping in. Lower this cooldown, increase the stun, all of that. And then you'll max dispos last. Now, for talents, actually jumping away from talents, ults, just take it at any point. It's a great ultimate. It is what lets you get kills with Sidekick. So you want it at 6. And you want it at 12 because it increases the amount of attacks you get before you have that little break in cooldown, so you just get more damage out of this. So lowers the cooldown, everything like that, great. Talents. So I would probably max Rebound first, but you could take this level 10 talent if you think you need this extra range, which is what I would typically recommend taking. It allows you to initiate further, escape from further. There's just more utility on this ability. This Rebound is like a 1-point wonder in a way. Or not like it's like a 1 skill wonder. It just does so much. It's your stun, speed boost, damage, all sorts of stuff. So buffing it up is typically the way to go. Dispos, the best part about Dispos now is the fact that you reposition people. So you don't really need it to do damage because you're just going to punch them for the damage. So I don't really think you need this level 10 talent at all. I actually see no reason to take it, really. So if you're not struggling with cast range, like maybe it's a bunch of melee heroes in the game, then you can just finish maxing out Rebound to get the increased stun and lower cooldown. It will cost you a little bit more mana, but 10's not a huge deal by, level 9, level 10. And then, a bit more damage for that AoE farming capability. So I usually max it and then take the extra range, the talent at level 11. They're your ult, and then the other points, the talents, I think can be worth it. You could max Dispos, I guess, but again, I think the reposition's kind of the main strength of Dispos. I don't really think it has to be maxed, and I kind of think the 15 talent is pretty good, especially if it's like a great rebound game. I really like this -3 rebound talent because you're getting down to 9 seconds. It's a lot of jumping around, stuns, and fights. If you aren't doing so much jumping for whatever reason, there's a lot of silences in the game. There's a lot of stuns that exist in the game, like Jakiro. It's hard to jump through things, and you have someone who's just doing really well, a carry who's popping off, a mid, Shadow Fiend, stuff like that. Sidekick lifesteal can be the way to go, and just buff them up, play behind them, and when people go on your hero, you dispo save them, you use your stun to protect them, versus a very active Marci. You're not so much focused on your sniper who's doing really well. You're kind of starting things, jumping around in fights. The cooldown could be good for that. Level 20, I think the rebound stun duration is a lot better. Moves this to 2.8 seconds of stun, which is really good. I don't really think you need that much unleash movement speed, because really you're kind of hoping that you stun them and then you're punching them while they're stunned. That means you don't really have to run around. You're hoping your teammates do all the extra stunning. So I think this is fine. And then 25 talent. I don't get here too often, to be honest, to support Marci. I think the Sidekick's immunity is really good. Lots of different ways to use this. But if you don't really need it for whatever reason, the pulse silence is not bad. I don't believe this pierces BKB. I'll check real quick and post a little edit right here. But this one, BKB is one of the best items in the game, right? So if you can just give people extra BKB time, it's fantastic. Sidekick is only 12 seconds, so you can use it to help dodge stuns effectively, that kind of thing. So I think there's a really good level 25 talent. Nothing else to say there. For your item build, let's actually jump ahead to the core build. This is pretty static. This is kind of the way to go if you're playing soft support Marci, the solo killer. So you're going to go Phase Boots, BKB, Basher. BKB is because once you pop your ult, you use Sidekick, you want to get a ton of damage in that time. And especially as you're leaping in, it's no longer the instant stun it used to be. So if people can react to it, they like throw out stuns to stop you, and you're kind of like in there dying, it's gonna be bad. So that's kind of why you get the BKB, so that when you jump, you are free to do everything you want to do during your ult and your Sidekick time, and try to kill the target that you've just stunned before they can do whatever after they're not stunned anymore. And then followed up with the Basher. With the way your ult works, where you punch several times really quickly, it's pretty much a guaranteed stun at 25% chance on hit. Once you have level 2 ult, every time you go through that series, probably one of them is a stun. So that is really powerful. Of course, you could get stuns outside of your ult and everything, still great. But it's really the fact that when you're ulting, you've got this guaranteed stun, as well as your leap, So it gives you a lot of man fight power. It gives you a lot of like a counter to people with BKB, because you're probably punching them enough to constantly stun them through their BKB. Super annoying. So this is kind of the standard build, really. Some people get Blink first if they like Blink before the BKB or Blink after the BKB if they really need to like find a certain target and go on that target. It's kind of hopeful that Rebound and the cast range is good enough for that. Sometimes if it's not, you can get the Blink. Past Basher, I have seen people go like Crystallis, Daedalus. Now, as a support Marci, you're not usually getting that farmed. So, to some extent, I've never built this myself, but I've seen people do it, and it's just even more damage. It's the whole solo killer idea, doing a ton of damage. They have to focus you even though you're position 4. And that's really irritating, because if they don't and they ignore you, you'll actually just kill them. So they have to focus on you, which means your real carries and your mids can then kill the target or do whatever they need to. So you could do that. Other times, if your team's really good, you're still a support. You can still get these aura things like Drums, Vlad's, Lotus. All of these are still open to you. I would say like Force and Glimmer, you're not as interested in, because it's not really why you pick Marci. You pick Marci to be very aggressive and to like threaten people, versus like saving your allies. And you can kind of see that from these items, right? You're enabling yourself to cause chaos and either kill people or get focused down. And when you're doing that, you either want to like enable your team to also do that, and these items will help yourself as well, or you're just like full greeting it out, for your own individual benefit. So that's kind of the standard build, and you really don't have to worry like too hard on it. You can just kind of do this if you're not sure and adjust later. So now let's go back and think about the laning stage. This is where it's a little harder, because every lane is a bit different, even though it's going to converge later on to these core items. So probably going to get a set of tangos, right? Because you want to cause fights, essentially, as Marci. Once you hit like level 1, 2, you are interested in picking up, maybe not kills, like you'd like that, but you want really good trades where you are jumping in and disposing, and you are expecting a big fight in that time, kind of. Like, you don't casually jump in and dispose someone. It's not... Your mana pool can't sustain that. It's not the strength of that toolkit. You are waiting for the right moment, and you're like, this guy's out of position, or we have a ton of creeps right now. Like, this is the big fight. I want to go in and I want to cause, the fight to happen. So because of that, you're not casually harassing. So you'll never really buy clarities. And you don't need to have massive amounts of like regen, because you're not constantly doing small trades. But you need enough to stay healthy, because if you're too low to jump in and cause those fights, then that's no good. When you cause those fights, people tend to react with a lot of spells, right? And they will try to kill you because you just jumped in. That can be dangerous for yourself. That's why you'll see like a lot of sticks and iron branches, because you're buffing yourself up with extra stats. You'll have more health bursts from the magic stick. You'll get a lot of charges because you're using a lot of spells. You might give them charges for their magic sticks, but even if they don't have that, they're going to see you jump in, and they have to all react with their spells. So you can get a lot of magic sticks, magic stick charges. So this is a very safe default build. After you cause like a big fight, you back off, you healing salve, you're ready to go again. And something you might need to pick up, you might need some mangoes. You could replace an iron branch, or just pick some mangoes up after the like starting runes. because the combo is a little expensive. And like I said, you're not just going to use one spell typically. Like, you want to use both because they're really powerful together. So at least one mango is great. You kind of have enough mana to like go through the combo a couple of times depending how well you space them out. But the higher tempo you want to play, the more mangoes you might need. And you're not interested in just chilling off to the side, claritying up. That's why mangoes are a little better. Plus your melee, so you're going to naturally take a little bit of extra harass, so the extra mana or health regen is great. Fairy Fire, also good to like trick people into thinking they're going to kill you in these like close fights, and actually just burst heal. Picking up a fast wand or raindrops are totally fine to pick up as well, because the laning stage is going to be a lot of like early fighting. And then you'll do a bit of roaming as well. So you don't really need the Windlace. You're kind of like fast enough, and thanks to the rebound, you don't really need to like walk in as far as like someone like Clockwork. So you don't really need to like pick up boots immediately, but once you're starting to roam, it can help so that you spend less time going from top to bottom, the smoke. The only other thing I wanted to call out is you could get an Orb of Venom, especially if the enemy doesn't have a good escape. You could swap some of these around, pick up the Orb of Venom, and then you're just going to have to be careful with your spells, but it's the same idea, right? This is a really good fight. I'm going to stun, dispose, and slow them with the Orb of Venom so that my offlaner can do a ton of damage. So depending on the matchup, Oov can also be a really good item. This is better for like if the enemy has any kind of escaped that make the Oov kind of pointless, or you aren't going to win the fight, you know, if you like engage them and they're really strong, like it's an undying matchup or something like that. It's a really tough lane, then you know the Oov isn't going to be great for you. The Oov is like, we're gonna win, I'm gonna slow them, we're gonna win harder kind of thing. So you kind of start with the Oov. I wouldn't really buy it after the fact. I feel like this is an item you start with or you don't get at all. But yeah, I think that kind of covers it. If you are playing position 5, you could probably get Tranquils instead if you wanted. I have seen some like Tranquils into BKB, but Phase is kind of nice just because you're jumping in. The Phase will like help protect you with the armor, but it'll also help you keep up with people to stun them, reposition to like dispose, stuff like that. So the armor or the Phase boots is really nice for this position 4 style of play. I think that's about it. Yeah, that was it. So give her a shot. She's pretty much the best hero right now. Everyone is banning her or first phasing her. She is very strong right now. So play her in pubs if she's not banned. I don't want to call it free MMR, you know, give you this false sense of security. She does have counters, especially not knowing how to engage properly and then you die before your BKB. That's very painful for Marci's. But if you know how to play her and know how to identify good fights, then this dispose rebound combo is so good. Many people don't appreciate it, even though she's like been in the game for a little bit now. Just repositioning in Dota has always been very powerful. And then you now match this with this like crazy amount of damage with Sidekick Unleashed. Many people don't expect it. So it just combos really well. You have the potential for a great laning stage and then for a great early to mid game impact. And you take a lot of power back to yourself. I know it's the frustration of supports, right? Like, I'm depending on my teammates, all this stuff. I mean, this build is really good for helping your teammates, but then I will do some solo carrying myself. So great combination for pub players. So thank you for watching. There will be a follow-up video where I talk through one of my games and try to explain some of those situations where this is like a good fight or a good initiation, time to trade and use your spells. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks. Bye.